Ever felt the pull of a love so strong it defied the very world around it? Today, we're diving deep into the sun-drenched, war-torn island of Cephalonia to explore the epic romance of Captain Corelli's Mandolin. This isn't just a love story. It's a tale of music, conflict, and the impossible choices people make when their worlds are turned upside down. Our story begins in 1940 on the idyllic Greek island of Cephalonia. Life is simple and beautiful. We meet Pelagia, the intelligent and strong-willed daughter of the local doctor Irene. She's educated, speaks multiple languages, and has dreams that stretch beyond the shores of her island. Pelagia is engaged to Mandras, a local fisherman. He's handsome and kind, but simple and uneducated. Their love is sweet, rooted in the familiar comfort of their shared home. But as the winds of war begin to blow across Europe, Mandras feels a duty to fight for his country. He leaves Pelagia, promising to return a hero, and heads off to the front lines to fight the invading Italians. As Mandras departs, a shadow falls over Cephalonia. The Italian army arrives, not as conquerors in the traditional sense, but as an occupying force. The islanders are resentful and suspicious. Among the occupying soldiers is Captain Antonio Corelli. But Corelli is not your typical soldier. He's a lover of life, a connoisseur of music, and an artist at heart, rarely seen without his beloved mandolin. He leads a company of men who are more interested in singing opera and enjoying the local wine than in fighting a war. Corelli's cheerful and carefree nature initially clashes with the somber reality of the occupation and the proud, defiant spirit of the Greek islanders. Corelli is quartered in Dr. Iannis's home, much to Pelagia's initial disgust. She sees him as the face of the enemy, an invader who has disrupted her life and the peace of her island. She treats him with cold contempt, refusing to even acknowledge his presence. But Corelli is persistent and charming. He tries to win her over not with force, but with kindness, humor, and most importantly, his music. The beautiful, soulful melodies he plays on his mandolin begin to echo through the house, slowly chipping away at the walls Pelagia has built around her heart. Dr. Iannis, a wise and observant man, sees something in Corelli beyond the uniform. He recognizes a kindred spirit, a man who values culture and humanity over conquest. They start to form an unlikely friendship, bonding over shared interests and intellectual conversations. Through her father's eyes and through Corelli's own relentless charm, Pelagia starts to see the man behind the soldier. She discovers his passion, his gentleness, and his deep-seated belief that music can heal and unite. She finds herself drawn to his vibrant spirit, a stark contrast to the grim reality of war. Meanwhile, letters from Mandras at the front stop arriving. Pelagia writes to him faithfully, pouring her heart out, but receives only silence in return. She feels abandoned and forgotten. This emotional void makes her even more receptive to Corelli's attention. A tentative friendship blossoms between them. They take walks, they talk, and he plays his mandolin just for her. The music becomes their secret language, a bridge between their two worlds. The initial hostility melts away, replaced by a deep and powerful connection that neither of them expected. It's a love born in the most unlikely of circumstances, a fragile flower growing in the cracks of a war-torn landscape. Their romance deepens, becoming the heart and soul of the island's uneasy peace. Corelli even composes a piece of music for her, Pelagia's March, a testament to his love. For a brief, magical time, it seems like their love can exist in its own little bubble, separate from the conflict raging around them. But the reality of war is never far away. The tide of the war turns dramatically. In 1943, Italy surrenders to the Allies. The Italian soldiers on Cephalonia, including Corelli and his men, are overjoyed. They believe the war is over for them and they can finally go home. They celebrate with the Greek islanders, who have come to see them not as occupiers but as friends. Corelli and Pelagia can finally imagine a future together, free from the constraints of war. However, their joy is short-lived. The German army, their former allies, now see the Italians as traitors. They arrive on Cephalonia and issue an ultimatum. Surrender your weapons and fight for us, or be treated as enemies. The Italian soldiers are faced with a terrible choice. Led by their general, they bravely decide to resist the Germans and fight alongside the Greek partisans. Corelli, the man who hated war, must now become the soldier he never wanted to be to protect his men and the island he has come to love. What follows is a brutal and tragic massacre. The German forces are merciless. They overwhelm the Italians, and in a horrific act of wartime cruelty, execute thousands of them after they have surrendered. The beautiful island becomes a scene of unimaginable horror. Corelli, in the midst of the fighting, is gravely wounded. Mandras, who has since returned from the war hardened and embittered, discovers the wounded Corelli. In a moment of complex humanity, torn between jealousy and a shared sense of brotherhood against the Germans, he carries Corelli to Dr. Irene's and Pelagia's home before disappearing back into the mountains with the partisans. Pelagia and her father nurse Corelli back to health in secret, risking their own lives to hide him from the Germans. During this time, their love is tested and solidified in the face of immense danger. They know that every moment together could be their last. Eventually, a friend helps Corelli escape the island on a small boat, promising Pelagia that he will return for her once the war is over. They share a heartbreaking farewell, filled with the uncertainty of what the future holds. Years pass. The war ends, but the island is scarred. A devastating earthquake further ravages Cephalonia, destroying much of what the war had left behind. Pelagia, now a doctor like her father, dedicates her life to rebuilding her community. She never loses hope, always waiting for Corelli's return, but as the years turn into decades, that hope begins to fade. She receives a package one day containing a record, the music Corelli composed for her, Pelagia's march, but no letter, no word. She resigns herself to a life without him, believing he has either forgotten her or perished. Then, one day, long after she has given up hope, an old man visits the island. He's a visitor, a tourist. He walks into her yard, and as he approaches, she hears a familiar sound. It's the gentle, beautiful melody of a mandolin. It's him, it's Corelli. He has finally returned, as he promised all those years ago. The film ends on this poignant, bittersweet note of reunion. Their love, which survived war, separation, and the passage of time, is finally given a chance to flourish in peace. Captain Corelli's mandolin is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, love, music, and the human spirit can endure. It shows us that lines drawn by war and politics are meaningless in the face of genuine human connection. It's a story that will stay with you long after the final credits roll. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this summary, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more movie deep dives. See you next time.